everyone, and welcome to today's video. If this is the first time that you're seeing me, I am the Hermit Tarot, and this is my free tarot reading channel here on YouTube. Welcome to all the returning subscribers. So lovely to have you here, whether you're a subscriber or a viewer. A lot of people who watch my readings aren't subscribed, so I am going to be going live a lot this month. That's my goal anyway, if I can stick by my self-care plan. So if you do want to be a part of my future live streams, make sure you are subscribed and that you've hit the notification bell so that you are notified. I don't plan them. I feel like they thrive. Like, live streams go really well when they're impromptu and when I just feel called to do them. So yeah, make sure you're notified if that's something that you're interested in being a part of. We have a lot of fun on those live streams, so yes. Anyway, today's video is a pick a group general reading. We're going to be looking at what tough cycle are you ending currently in your life. And if I look a little bit tired, it's because I kind of am. This reading was it's an understatement. It was a lot of fun to do, but it was also very helpful to do. And I hope that it brings you the clarity and information that you're looking for, because I did aim to really focus more on how ending this tough cycle is going to lead to your next blessing as well. So myself and Morpheus worked very hard to give you the information, the advice, the wisdom, the guidance, the support, the clarity, the knowledge that you need in order to get through the end of this tough cycle and onto the next best big thing, sweet pea. There are going to be 4 groups to choose from. I know that because I'm filming your intro after I've done all the groups. So, oh my Lord, take time picking your group today, and make sure that whatever group you go into, you keep an open mind. And just know you may have more than one message in each group as well. So in terms of, you may have messages in multiple groups. Wow, she is tired. Okay, I'm going to stop babbling and I'll take you into your pick a group portion now. Okay, so welcome you guys to the pick a group portion of today's reading. We have 4 groups to choose from today. Group 1 over here, you have the succulent leaf. This succulent leaf has spiky edges. It is as juicy as most succulent leaves are. It is going to be propagated after this on a bed of soil so that it can have new life and start a new plant. So interesting fact about succulents, you can propagate their leaves and create completely new plants from them. So this leaf is literally just green, no extra colors, just that bright, not really bright, but just a solid green color. Group 2, you guys will have the croton leaf. Now, people say it differently depending on your accent and the language, but here in most parts of Australia, we call them crotons. Crotons, I had to say it twice because I'm starting to stitch myself up. Their leaves vary, but usually they are variegated with at least 2 different colors. So it's variegated may not be the best word, but this plant has 3 different colors on it altogether. This leaf in particular is just green with a little bit of yellow spots. The plant overall has red in it as well, depending on when the leaves mature. You can see on the corner here that because this is so young, there's only a little bit of red, like a tiny bit of red there. As this leaf matures, it would have turned red had I not plucked it. So I cannot variegate this leaf, but crotons are so easy to, I cannot propagate this leaf, but crotons are usually very easy to propagate. You can just get a cutting of the plant, put it straight in water. Group 3, you guys have the other succulent leaf, which is broad and it does not have spikes around the edges. This succulent I have to protect because its leaves were designed to hold water, and where I live there is so much water all the time that this plant is susceptible to rotting. So same as the other succulent, this one can be propagated on soil. It'll grow a root out of the end here, and it'll grow other little plants up here and become its own succulent plant eventually. So group 4, lucky last group 4, last but not least, we have the pawpaw leaf over here. And pawpaw trees grow really well where I live in the world. They grow ridiculously well. I think I have like 20 of them on this property because of the previous owner's fascination with pawpaw, clearly. But this leaf, apparently it has medicinal properties. I personally haven't used it for those things. I just like having pawpaws around the house to look at. Once they fruit, you cut them, you eat them, lovely. So it has the 3 spikes and it's just green, boop, 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 just in case that holds any bearing for you. So those are the 4 groups. You're welcome to join me in the meditation portion of this video if you feel you need more time to figure out which of these 4 groups you're feeling most called to. Otherwise, timestamps are down below. You know where to go. Once you know which group you are feeling most called to, click on your timestamp and join me in your reading. So the first thing I want you to do with me is to take in 2 deep, mindful breaths. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, and in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4. Now I want you to focus on clearing your mind. It's natural to have thoughts racing at this point. I want you to embrace each thought as it comes and let it slip as quickly as it came in. Focus on clearing and balancing out these thoughts so that they come and go without a desire to be attached to them. And now, with a rested mind, I want you to think of the first group that comes to your mind. It may be a number, it may be an object that I showed you. It could be a specific color. It could be a feeling that you felt when I showed you each of the groups today. When you are ready and when you feel confident, select your group and join me in your reading. Welcome group 1. If you guys chose the succulent leaf over here, then this is going to be your reading. I wanted to try to film you guys straight up so I could put this back into the soil, get some water on it, and get some growth happening. So welcome group 1. We're asking Spirit today, what tough cycle are you ending? I feel like this is going to be very helpful. And my aim is that it will be very helpful for you, and just bring some good news, good news only. What tough cycle is group 1 ending in their life right now? What tough cycle is group 1 ending in their life right now? We have the High Priestess over here. Excuse me, I got hiccups like something severe. It's crazy. There we go. We have the Tower in the upright. Wow, very tough cycle from the looks. Let's get that pawpaw leaf out of the frame. We have the Two of Swords upright, something that was a mystery. This is interesting. It feels like something's coming full circle, or like it's finally being revealed to you. What tough cycle is group 1 ending? We have the Seven of Cups reversed. Yeah, it was confusing. It was messy. We didn't really know what it was. We didn't really know what was going on. We weren't really able to take anything serious from the situation. It just felt like we didn't know where we stood. Honestly, this situation was impacting your emotions as well. But I feel like really what was going on here with the High Priestess and the Two of Swords, something was happening in your life that left you feeling extremely confused. It left you feeling like you were in the dark, like you didn't have the right information, like you were always kind of guessing or needing to. Maybe you had to turn to tarot a lot. Maybe you felt like you had to go to all of these like mystical places to get answers because you were completely mystified. You did not understand what was going on. You could not make heads nor tails of your situation. A lot of confusion, a lot of darkness, and I'm actually getting a lot of guilt as well because there seems to be the fear of making a wrong decision based on what you don't know. I feel like the Two of Swords was like a period of needing to like find the right answers, coming from a balanced mind in order to understand, well, what do I do next? And I don't want to take the wrong actions, pick the wrong thing, and accidentally leave something behind that I really want. So you seem to be ending this tough cycle, because I see with the Tower here that things need to change. The Tower is saying that maybe amidst all this mysticism, there was also this feeling of like you just don't know what to expect next. It was just starting to get really out of hand, and it was starting to feel like you just didn't know what was going to happen next with this area of your life. Is there going to be something new? Is there something old coming in? What's going on here? And I see the Tower as this unexpected change in a good way now. It feels like this is a tough cycle that's ending, because you clearly just had to surrender this part of your life. You didn't have any clear answers. You didn't have any clear idea of what was going to happen, or let alone, how you could prepare for what was going to happen. So you literally just had to surrender it and hope that whatever it is that you were doing with your present moment was going to be enough to make you happy tomorrow. And it feels like that's why the Three of Cups is reversed, because there is a feeling here of you just trying to stay present, not trying to think too far ahead, not trying to think too far behind, but just trying to stay present, which honestly, I don't think it was genuinely making you happy though. I feel like it might be keeping things simpler, but I think that the back of your mind, you just wanted to know these things. You just wanted the clarity, the confirmation. Can we get more cards, please, Spirit? What tough cycle is Group 1 currently ending? And how will this transition into a blessing? There we go. We've got the Five of Wands in the upright position. How will this transition into a blessing, Spirit? Oh, yeah, that obviously the Seven of Swords reversed. How will this transition into a blessing? We have the Two of Wands in the reverse as well. How will this transition into a blessing, Spirit? We have the Queen of Discs in the reverse as well. Okay, bottom deck energy is again the Three of Cups, excuse me. And it's still reversed. Okay, so this is real. This is about your happiness. This is about surrounding you with the right people who will give you those joyful feelings. I feel like it's also about separating yourself from the people who don't give you those joyful feelings. This is a blessing because you are separating from acquaintances who weren't actually genuinely like the right people. It's making me think that either they were yes people, or it's making me think that they were just the kind of people who like didn't add the deep emotional value that you actually want in your world. Now, if we're not talking about people, we're definitely talking about your happiness. This end of a tough cycle is transitioning into a blessing by way of decluttering the energy that has been just sort of stagnating there. And it feels like this energy is going to change by bringing some new ideas, new desires in, some new interests on your side. You might find yourself spending your energy differently as this tough cycle ends. You may get new impulses, new interests, new desires in terms of hobbies, in terms of how you want to spend your free time, in terms of how you want to invest your quality time, and in terms of how you want to express yourself, how you want to convey who you are, whether that's in your physical style or whether that's in your speech and with communication. There's this massive change in expression, and it's changing the energy around you. Now, I do see that this is a blessing because I also see that this change is going to distance you from people who cannot keep up with this. I see that there are people who have just been taking advantage of the fact that you've been very confused and that you haven't really been able to make any serious choices for yourself, and that you've just been literally in this state of surrender. There are energies around you that have been taking advantage of that. And this is going to be a blessing because we're disrupting those energies and going, listen, either evolve with me, grow with me, or we're growing apart. And for most of you, you're growing apart from these frivolous connections that don't genuinely offer you the partnerships, the harmonies, the structures, the balance, the stability that you want. I see that you're taking things more seriously now. This is a blessing because things are improving in a more serious way, and it aligns with your intentions. when, in terms of, I feel like many of you intended for something more serious. You just didn't want to step the wrong foot in the wrong direction. I see with the Seven of Swords reverse that this end of a tough cycle is leading to a blessing of complete clarity, to the point where it's going to be very difficult to continue to do or say things that you don't believe in anymore. You know, it makes me think of those moments when you're a child, and I'm sorry if you still believe in these things. I don't mean to ruin your beautiful fantasies, but you know, when you're a child and you believe in everything, you believe in the tooth fairy, you believe in Santa Claus, you believe in the Easter Bunny, everything. And then there's that moment in life, and I don't even know if I can genuinely think of when it happened, but I know I woke up to the fact that, oh crap, it's mom, it's dad, it's me now doing it for my younger siblings. You can't go back to that without knowing in your heart that, you know, it's just not real anymore. So it feels like you're changing to the point where these old little tricks that you used to be able to do and get away with to numb your soul from the fact that you can't move forward in the way that you want to, they're not going to be helpful nor necessary anymore. It feels like we know so much about where we want to be and how our energy is growing that there's going to be things that you used to do that are no longer interesting to you anymore. There's going to be actions of behavior that you used to cling to that you're not going to feel a desire to reattempt anymore. It's like maybe religiously after work, you had time to kill, you didn't really want to go home, you had to wait for that bus, that train, that wherever the heck you were going. So you always used to go to the convenience store, buy a bag of chips, buy your favorite soft drink. This is very Australian lingo. I'm talking about fizzy drinks and crisps if you're anywhere else in the world. And maybe, you know, it just started as something to do to kill the time, but over time, you know, you're doing it, you're noticing other impacts to your health, to your body, to your lifestyle, because you started doing it every single day. You knew it wasn't helpful, but what else were you going to do with your free time, you know? So these are just examples to help put this feeling into context. But I do feel that this change in energy, this change in interest, desire, and impulse is going to lead you to cut ties with things that you no longer believe in, because you know better. You know you can't continue to do that for yourself. It's damaging for where you want to be and how you want to grow. And this does translate to this Two of Wands reversed energy. We're not confused. We don't have two options anymore. There's one clear path forward and one clear path backwards. And it's like you're going, you know what, I'm not going back, so I guess we're going to push forward. I guess we're going to aim to continue to grow, because we can't keep growing backwards. We're only going to wither. So it is this feeling of you knowing very clearly how you want to invest your energy moving forward. And this translates to a Queen of Discs reverse moment. Now listen, the Queen of Discs is a nurturing, loyal, successful, independent, caring, family-orientated pillar of her community. In the reverse position, she's a force to be reckoned with. This is someone who is selfishly hoarding their resources and clinging to their values and clinging to their ethics, whether that's their work ethics, their family ethics, their moral ethics, if you want to cross ties there. This is someone who is clinging to what they have because they need to continue pushing forward for what's theirs. And I think that the way that this is translating is you being very selective over how you invest yourself and who you share these valuable things with, whether we're looking at time, because in my personal opinion, time is one of the most valuable commodities. You can't buy time. You can't buy it back once it's spent. So whether we're looking at your resources as time, as energy, as love, as money, as attention, as, you know, anything in between, I see you being incredibly selective moving forward, and your loyalty is not something that can be easily bought. It feels like this Queen of Discs is so sour because they're protecting what they have and they're refusing to open their arms to whoever or whatever is able to offer themselves for whatever price. It's like, no, this is something that money can't buy. This is a blessing for you because it's changing the way that you see yourself and your future is what I feel. I feel like you're creating something, whether it's a partnership, like in terms of love or business, whether it's some sort of new direction, legacy energy for the Queen of Pentacles to be out here. You're being very selective now. Maybe you just didn't know how to take that next step forward on this path, but the way that this translates is loyalty is incredibly valuable to you. Resources are incredibly valuable to you. Sentimental moments are incredibly valuable to you. And it's like once that bridge is burnt, I don't give out second chances. So I honestly, like, who did this to you, group one? Because, oh my gosh, they need to receive the memo that you're not going to be going back to who you used to be. You're evolving, you're growing. And this isn't you isolating yourself as well. This is you keeping those loyal ones, those ones who can respect and understand your resources and your boundaries and understand what is important to you and how you need to work right now, how you need to function right now. You're keeping those people in your life. You're cherishing those people and you're taking them forward with you. But if somebody can't make the cut, you're cutting them off. You're leaving them behind and you're changing your energy towards growth, taking only what matters with you moving forward. So let's see what else the Oracle cards can tell us about this improvement in your life. Group one, please, Spirit. What else can you tell us about the end of this tough cycle? What else can you tell us about the end of this tough cycle? We have red jasper over here. Red jasper is influenced by the fire element, the number 5, Mars, sacral chakra, and this headstand. It's been coming out a lot lately, this card. We're going to get one more. What card may offer them additional info? We have hematite, wow. Number 6, Saturn, earth energy, and we also have the root chakra and this flexible stretch resting. It's not child pose, it's something else, this one, yoga pose down there. So listen, holy heck. The other two things that you need to know about the end of this tough cycle is that it is aimed at getting things moving. I'm hearing like kicking your butt into gear. It is aimed to get things moving because you have been in a place of stillness, passiveness, and uncertainty, waiting for the next sign. What do I do next? Maybe it's just been a quick minute of confusion. Maybe it's been a long time of like just surrendering and going, I don't know what to do. But literally, with the red jasper here, the whole purpose of this cycle ending is to get the ball moving, to get the creative juices flowing within you, and to inspire you to start making new pathways forward. And it doesn't have to be any one pathway, but I can definitely see with the 2 of Wands reverse that there is one clear path that you're leaving behind you. There is one clear, true, tried and tested path that you're like, you know what, nah, I don't give out second chances. I'm not going back. And you're moving forward with so much determination to change your energy that it is creating this fruitful sacral chakra ability to continue to push forward. Like, this is not just motivation. This is desire to succeed, desire to continue, desire to grow. And I see the sacral chakra as you overcoming a fear of like, what if it's almost like there's this fear of making the wrong mistakes and accidentally investing in the wrong energy that's going to inevitably cause you to live with regret. You're not letting that stand in your way anymore. You're like, you know what's even worse than living with that fear of regret because I took the wrong chance? It's fear of living with the regret of taking no chance and staying like this forever when I clearly have an opportunity knocking at my door. And I do think you have an opportunity. Hematite is interesting because hematite presents itself as this stable, almost need to bring harmony and balance. And yet it's giving me justice energy because we have the root chakra, which is talking about you and getting back to the values of who you are, to the core of what you want, and to this main conception of how you want your life to be tomorrow, and taking that first step in your present towards that life tomorrow. It is this slow moving energy with Saturn, you know, that this is something that is going to take time eventually, but I also think that you're going to start to see results fairly quickly. This tough cycle ending has definitely been a long time coming for a lot of you, Group 1, and I feel like Hematite is encouraging you to look at this as an ongoing success story, not just something that's going to max out in the next 6 months to 6 weeks type of thing, 6 weeks to 6 months. I feel like they're encouraging you to see this new blessing as something that can continue to grow so long as you continue to invest the appropriate amount of energy, especially with root chakra and Saturn here. Slow and steady, little by little. Consistency is key. There's this feeling of discipline and consistency here. So that's what you need to know about this tough cycle ending. Let us get some oracle cards to see if there's any advice that you need to know about how to make the best out of the situation. Group 1, please, Spirit, is there any advice around how they can make the best out of this situation, this tough cycle ending? Is there any advice over how they can make the best out of this situation? We have emotional exhaustion. I was picking up that for many of you, it could be an on and off again relationship of just not knowing, what's going to happen next. Where are we going to next? Emotional exhaustion, this wilting flower. Oh my gosh. Let's get 2 more cards. What other advice can you offer them about how to make the most out of this situation? Okay. Spirit. We also have hidden learning. Yes, the High Priestess and the Two of Swords. There's definitely hidden learning here. 1 more card, please, Spirit. Any more advice for Group 1? We have inner quiet over here as well. Wow. So there's still a lot of passive power in your reading, despite the fact that you're being motivated by masculine energy at the end of this tough cycle. You still have this feminine power of standing in your ability to know what a situation is through your intuitive ability to feel what is best for you to do. Your bottom deck energy here is ancestral stories. So there is a feeling of learning from your past, learning from what has happened, keeping those stories as little, I don't want to say precautionary tales, but almost memoirs, because I consider ancestral stories in my culture, our myths and legends are both like cautionary tales, as well as like tales of inspiration and staying connected to your roots. We didn't have a written language for a long, heck of a long time, 60,000 years. So our stories is what kept our culture alive. Our stories is what kept the essence of who we are alive. So there is a feeling here of learning from this situation, understanding what you've been through, not projecting it into your future, but at least appreciating how much you have been through and finding an opportunity here to take that wisdom out of it, because I feel like you have got wisdom from this experience. I feel like as stuck as you may have felt and as frustrating as it may have been, you have learned things, especially about your emotions. This comes back to this feeling as though your feelings is what got you into this. Spirit said that for many of you, your feelings is what got you into this feeling of being stuck. It was this feeling of not being able to let go or feeling very attached. But your feelings are what have developed and strengthened and turned into one of your biggest strengths at the moment, because through those feelings, many of you have gained a stronger connection to your intuition. Regardless, though, the advice with these cards is to focus on why you wanted this change so badly, because your emotions clearly were not where they wanted to be over here in this tough cycle. So emotional exhaustion is kind of reminding you to take what you've learned from that tough cycle, and when you come into this blessing, as desirable as it is to throw yourself into these impulses and these new interests, it is very important that you also continue to honor your feelings and your emotions and what they are telling you. If you're tired, if you need time, if you need to slow down again, it's fine, because this is an ongoing process. It's an ongoing cycle of abundance. We don't need to max out in the first 2 weeks, That credit card bill comes on the 4th. Don't spend it all before the 30th. So I see here with the inner quiet coming out that there is a feeling of you understanding what these like at least processing what this did for you, because obviously it could have been a lot to go through, and I'm reading for a lot of people here, so I can't begin to imagine, how difficult this tough cycle could have been for some of you. But I do think that even though you've got all this masculine push to go forward and throw yourself into this creative energy and create, you're still being called to honor this passive feminine side who waited patiently, surrendering until they felt called to act. That is a superpower. That is not something that held you back in life and stopped you. It's actually exactly where you needed to be at that point in time. And your ability to be so passively, intuitively connected to those understandings of I need to be still, I need to wait, I can't act yet, I don't know what to expect, I'm very confused, I'm not going to make any serious choices right now. That is a superpower, and it's something that you do need to continue to honor moving forward. When you feel called to honor that inner voice, that quiet inner intuitive voice that's telling you something, I feel like this situation has taught you how to do that. This situation, as frustrating as it could have been for you, has taught you to honor those feelings and to honor that inner quiet. Now, over here with hidden learning, I feel as though once this truth comes out, a lot is going to be revealed to you, and it's going to put things into perspective in a more objective nature. You're going to feel less impacted in the sense of, yes, it happened to you, but it also happened for you. And maybe multiple things were involved, or multiple people were involved, or many different things happened simultaneously. It's going to feel less personal in the sense of you. It's not like the situation was treating you like their personal victim. You're going to be able to objectively stand back and go, wow, I can see clearly now. It's making a lot more sense, and I feel less victimized by that situation. So can I get some closing affirmation cards for group 1? What affirmation cards will be most helpful when this tough cycle ends for them? What affirmation cards? We have I am in harmony with nature. Absolutely. You are being called to ground yourself, to strive for balance as you move forward, because change immediately is disruptive. Change for me is the number 5. It's not an even number. It's something that comes in, it challenges us, it changes things, it shakes things up. So the goal here for you is, even through this newfound change, which is actually going to be very exciting, can I say, like you're going to welcome it, make sure that you continue to strive for your harmony. And I'm talking about your energy here. Through this masculine desire to create, make sure you continue to honor your feminine power, your feminine ability in terms of energy, to be able to wait passively for those right opportunities to come along. No matter how stuck or impatient you feel, that is such a superpower to have, to be able to wait for the right opportunities to come along. So your affirmation as this tough cycle ends is I am in harmony with nature. Stay grounded, stay balanced. Group 1, that is the reading I have for you. I hope it was helpful. I hope it helped put things into perspective in terms of if this is ending right now. I see this tough cycle being the next tough cycle that you are ending. So you will understand you're in it when you start to feel your energy being pulled into new desires, new interests, new hobbies, you're just going to feel like, oh, I want to do this today. I'm not going to have toast. Actually, let me have cereal. And let me go to that park that I've never been to. And I see that you're going to realize that, wow, this is the end. When you get that information that you've been craving, when it's suddenly very clear to you that you can't continue to do something anymore because you don't believe in it and it's time to move forward. This is very exciting for you because it's only the beginning of something very prosperous, and it is very important in how you continue to move forward for your character to go through this end of cycle. So I look forward to this beautiful new beginning for you, group 1. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm going to take a quick second to thank your guides, my guides, and our spiritual teams for helping me channel today's messages and for keeping me safe while doing so. Thank you for all of your support over here on YouTube. Give it a like if you liked your reading, and be sure to follow me if you'd like to join me in future live streams here on this channel. Look after your beautiful self, and I'll see you in another video. Bye. Welcome, Groupus Tupus. If you guys chose the Croton leaf, then this is going to be your reading. Welcome. I'm going to pop your reef. Oh my gosh. I think it's a sign I need to go to the reef soon. I'm going to pop your leaf over here and we're going to get straight into your reading. So group 2, we're asking Spirit today, what tough cycle are you ending? We're going to be looking at how this will transition into your next blessing, and we're going to make sure that we get a heck of a lot of advice for you as well, just to curb any fears that you may have or any challenges that you can foresee in the road ahead. I've got some kombucha over here. I might be sipping it throughout your reading just to keep my throat lubricated because holy heck, I haven't been talking much today. And I'm starting to feel it now that we've started filming. Group 2, please, Spirit. What tough cycle are they ending? What tough cycle is Group 2 ending? Hello. We have the Ace of Blades coming out in the upright position. What tough cycle is Group 2 ending? We have the Fool in the reverse position. Welcome. What tough cycle is Group 2 ending? Oh, 9 of Cups coming out reversed. What tough cycle is Group 2 ending? What tough cycle is Group 2 ending? I knew there was going to be a group. We had the 3 of Swords coming out for you in the reverse. So, wow. I knew there was going to be a group that got the 3 of Swords. I just had that strong feeling. When we look at tough cycles, obviously heartbreak is one of them. Let us move this leaf into a more... There we go. Because I want to get your bottom deck energy over here as well. Bottom deck energy is the 5 of Pentacles and it is reversed. 5 of Pentacles reversed. Wow. Change of environment. I'm hearing it's about damn time. So somebody has not been thriving in a circumstance. I want to talk about relationships first, because I think that a lot of us watch tarot readings when we're uncertain about relationships, but this could also have impacted your finances, your feelings of being able to create security in your world. Maybe you look at security as I need secure people around me, like secure relationships in order to feel secure. But for whatever it is, you're in a situation right now where you don't feel very secure in your environment. You don't feel like you have the resources to be able to continue and thrive. It feels like this is changing, this cycle is ending, and by doing so, well, the way that it is ending is that you're going to get some sort of a new idea, some new opportunity present itself that is either going to make you think differently or act differently. This new idea leads you to think about something as, you know what? Why did I wait for it? Because it wasn't going to come. I see the Fool reversed as something that you're either no longer attached to or you're just no longer waiting for it. Because I consider this to be something that is like a window that either never opened or you're just not wanting to open it anymore. It's like we're looking at this as I felt really foolish for wanting that. And I don't mean to say that you were, but this is how you can identify what this tough cycle is. Spirit's saying that many of you felt very foolish being in this situation for quite a long time, especially with the Fool being here reversed. It's almost like there was an immaturity linked to why this cycle became so tough. Because had it just been nipped in the bud initially, or had it just happened at a time when you had more wisdom, when you were less naive, when you were more mature, it may not have been this difficult for you. It's like a tough cycle that you went through specifically at this point in your life, because as you grew, as you gained more wisdom, more information, it immediately became less attractive to you. It's almost like that. It's making me think of those memes where people say, you know, when you think about your exes or the people you used to have crushes on, and it's all these people making like faces like, ugh, you know, that's what it makes me think of. It's like these opportunities were very much attractive attractive to you based upon your maturity level. And now it seems like you're being presented with something else because it's more in your cone of awareness. It's more tailored towards where you're at in terms of how you look at things subjectively, what you find yourself interested in subjectively. And because you're more mature now, it's making you turn your back on things that you were once waiting to happen or once waiting for because they're no longer attractive to you. You've evolved past it. You're not foolish anymore. You're mature now. You're not waiting anymore. Some of you were waiting for something to recycle, reinstigate, reinvest. You're wisening up, being more careful, being more strategic, not naive. I'm not a child. These are all phrases that I'm hearing. There's a real protectiveness about you and this subject though. Like you either haven't told a lot of people about this or you're very protective over this topic in your life. And it's something that either you get very heated about or you just don't like to even tell other people because you get very defensive. But I think over here with this 9 of Cups reversed, it obviously wasn't making you happy. It wasn't an area of your life that you felt proud about. In fact, it could be an area of your life that was impacted by your pride because maybe you were too proud to admit that you weren't where you wanted to be and that you were actually struggling and that this was something that you were insecure about and that you wanted to grow from. Maybe it was something that you struggled to really connect to because you weren't letting people in either. So I do see that this is a very difficult cycle for you because it has impacted your serious relationships. It has impacted the people who genuinely love you. It makes me think that you can't trust a lot of people with this information. It makes me think that you've been really hoarding this to yourself and holding it against yourself and saying you know what, I can't tell you about this. I know you're my mother. I know you're my father. I know that you're my child. I know that you're my best friend, my sibling, someone I love, value, and respect. But I cannot trust you with this information because if you tell me something I don't want to hear, I'm afraid of how defensive I will be and how I might attack you. And maybe that was at the worst moment in time, but I do feel like whatever this was, it feels very private and it had to do with you attaching yourself to something based on where your mind was at that time. And I feel like the more that this situation sits with you and the more that you continue growing and experiencing, the less attached you are going to be to this, the less protective you're going to be. And you're going to find yourself, like my fingers here, starting to let go of this need to either control this or wait for this to happen. And before you know it, there's going to be nothing holding you onto this anymore. I hope that makes sense. It's honestly a very interesting concept to try to describe. We have the 3 of Swords over here as your final card. And I think that the 3 of Swords being reversed is this feeling of a heartbreak or this, I can only have this ending. It's like you had this idea of it can only be this. This is the only way I'm going to be happy. This is the only way I can be successful. This is the only person I want to marry. This is the only job I want to have. This is the only car I want to drive. This is the only. And it's no, actually, we don't have to continue to believe this anymore. It's like you've outgrown this. You're more mature now. You're starting to look back and go, wow, I had to go through that part of my life because I had to hit that point where I was like, wow, my attachment to this idea is destroying so much that I actually care about. I need to change. And I feel like this is to do with your consciousness. It's not something that Spirit's not going, here's a random opportunity, have fun. It's no, this is you. This is your conscious mind whirring, ticking over, processing these ideas, these feelings, these thoughts, and coming to the clear conclusion that you need to think differently. You need to change your thought pattern because what you are clinging to is not giving you the opportunities that you've been wanting. It's not making you happy like you deserve to be. It's not giving you the opportunity that you've been craving. It's only continuing to hurt you and hold you back from what you know you are meant to have. And I feel like this is a tough cycle because it's alienated you. It's made you feel like you've been left out in the cold. It's made you feel like you've missed out on other opportunities. And it could have directly impacted the people that you love and care about. Welcome, sir. Especially with the Ten of Pentacles over here reversed. It's like there's a feeling of betraying your values, betraying your family, if your family are people who you do value. It just feels like this isn't the future that you want for yourself, and it's ending now. So let's see how this transitions into your next blessing. Spirit, how does this... We have the Four of Swords, your awakening, that's reversed. How is this transitioning into their next blessing? Wow. We have the Queen of Discs coming out for you in the upright. We also have the Three of Cups showing us up to us like this in a very fun, exciting little whoop. We're going to get one more card. Yeah, I see. Ace of Wands. It's technically a blockage at the stage, but like it's getting there. It's getting there. Your bottom deck energy is Judgment reversed. And wow, I heard if I could turn back time. If I could find a way. Wow, I'd take back all the words that hurt you and I'd make you stay, or you'd stay. Anyway, I don't really know that song very well. I'm pretty sure it's Cher. Is it Cher or Cher? I always say this wrong. I don't like to say her name because I always say it wrong and I don't know how to actually say it. So C-H-E-R. Anyway, this will transition into your next blessing because you're coming out of a period of inaction here. It's like you are feeling like you need to make up for lost time in your own life by being more present. Four of Swords reversed is like you've awoken. You've awakened from a slumber that you've been in. Good morning, Sleeping Beauty. Look at the world now. You know, this is your kingdom. This is life. This is what you've been missing out on while you've been asleep. This is everything that you couldn't see when you were facing the other way, focusing on your pain, focusing on what isn't happening, focusing on who isn't here, focusing on what isn't working for you. You've turned around, you've opened your eyes, you've gained that extra sword, and you're starting to see what you can have and what you can take action towards and what you can think about now. I feel like a lot of this process is going to be internal here into your new blessings because it's about you thinking and seeing what is available to you now that you have cut ties with whatever this was, especially with the Queen of Discs over here. It may even lead to new forms of employment for you because as you transition, you're looking around and going, you know what? There's actually a lot more out there that is worthy of my interest, worthy of my time, worthy of my investment, worthy of my energetic ability to create. I also see that it could be a question of loyalty here with the Queen of Discs. Maybe this is showing you what you're truly worth and how valuable your loyalty is and how you had maybe naively been misinvesting that loyalty. I just feel with the Queen of Discs being upright that you're free to reinvest your energy, your loyalty, your time, your money, if that's what this is about, as you wish. And I see the Queen of Discs upright as you exploring new foundations or new ways of connecting. I honestly see the Queen of Discs as like a pillar of the community. So, and for it to be teed up with this interesting, fun Three of Cups on a slant over here in the upright, I do think that the blessing is that you're going to be connecting with new people. In the very least, these are fun, friendly like people, not French, friendly people who you're just going to get a lot of joy from. I just see that there's going to be more joy in general with the Three of Cups, and this could be talking about a reunion with people who have been missing you as well, like friends. It just feels like you're starting to come out and see the light again in many ways, especially with Judgment reversed. It's like this is an undeniable truth that was always there in front of you. And it almost feels like now that you've turned around, you're like, I wish I could turn back time and have done this sooner, but I can see now. And it also feels like this is something that moving forward, you know, because you're wiser, because you've evolved, it's not something that you're going to do again either. It's not a mistake that you would make again. Not saying that it's a mistake, but I see you gaining wisdom here. I also see judgment reversed as something from your past, stepping into your future, stepping into your present and helping you redesign your future. And this is not something from your past that is painful. It's something from your past that is inspirational. It's inspiring you to reinvent yourself and to push towards some sort of goal that you now have for your future. And it feels like it could be a friend. It could just be someone who you have like light feelings for, in the sense of like they're an acquaintance, you know, someone you don't know very well yet, but they are going to have this ability to inspire you to do things differently. With the Ace of Wands coming out as a blockage initially, it feels like that might be what is lacking here, because obviously this cycle's ended. You're coming out of inaction, you're redistributing your loyalty, your resources, your energy, you're going out, having fun, engaging with more people and interacting with more fun people. So what may be lacking is inspiration. What do we do from here? And that is where Judgment reversed and the Ace of Wands upright come into play, because I think that it may be an initial blockage or it may be an initial question mark, but as you spend more fun times with the fun people who seem to bring back these living in the moment, I'm present, I'm happy, I still have my concerns about my future, but not to the point where I feel like I'm missing out on anything important, you know. That's when you'll seem to get this inspiration. That's where things may take a more serious turn, because you will start to, you know, acquaintances can only stay acquaintances for so long before relationships grow and mature, whether they become friends, whether they just become people that we used to know. It feels like someone you're working more intimately with them to work towards your future. And I think that the Ace of Wands here is you being reborn and finding this new purpose, this new sense of direction. I see the Ace of Wands as an opportunity coming in like inspiration and sort of showing you like, hey, here's some creative energy and here's how you could invest it if you wanna. Like, you know, it's not forcing you to do it. It's something that you have to decide to take and make your own. But it is this idea of inspiration coming your way and showing you what you can do with that inspiration, that creative energy. And I feel like this is coming through someone. Like, it's not just something that you scroll on social media and see. Someone that you will come to know very well is going to help you with that. Now, what else does Group 2 need to know about the end of this tough cycle, Spirit? We have natural agate coming out for you. Number 2, Venus. We've got an earthy element to this card. And we also have the heart chakra associated with this card, natural agate. What else does Group 2 need to know about the end of this tough cycle? We have a hematite. Interesting, that came out for Group 1. Hematite is influenced by the earthy element in this deck. It has the number 6, Saturn, and the root chakra as well. Very peaceful yoga poses, both earthy cards. So interesting, because I was feeling emotions, I was feeling like thoughts and ideas, and then we had this feeling of people coming in, friends coming in, new fun energies coming in. And so it's very interesting now that we've got these two cards here to find more of a balance and more of like a stability to it. It's not just in the air. I think that the end of this tough cycle is going to bring you closer to people who do matter to you with natural agate here. There's a sentimental side to you that feels like it's awakening, because I think that there was something that you'd been waiting for that just wasn't giving you that. It wasn't enriching this sentimental Venusian side to you that values affection and harmony in connections, you know. I feel like the end of this tough cycle is giving you more time with the people that you actually care about and love. It's giving you more time to appreciate your time. It's giving you the idea of like what is truly valuable in terms of you, because as a person you have a lot to offer. Group 2 natural agate is really highlighting the importance of balanced relationships, and how much to give and take, how much to expect versus how much to have, how many expectations versus boundaries do you have? You know, there is a weird feeling here of compassion and kindness, even despite the pain of whatever tough cycle you're ending here. There is still a feeling of compassion and kindness, and being able to sort of dust your hands and continue moving forward. So I feel like the goal of this tough cycle ending is that there isn't pain. There is simply this understanding of, well, I wouldn't treat the people I love like this, or I wouldn't put anybody that I cared about in a situation like this. So maybe this situation didn't really care for me, and it's time to just move forward and focus on what does care for me. So it's this interesting feeling of getting more balance in that sense, and not feeling spiteful or bitter for it, but just simply accepting that you will be more balanced when it comes to what you expect from others. And when people don't match those expectations, you will be quicker to act based on that lack of balance. Now, I do think with hematite here, I see hematite as this protection thing for you, but in general, hematite has this energy of slow and steady. Over time, it'll improve. Over time, it'll get better. So honestly, it's a similar message to group 1 in the sense that this blessing, the end of this tough cycle, graduating into a blessing, could be something that happens over time that is continually fruitful depending on how much energy you put into it. I see that this tough cycle is something that you may need to continually check yourself on, so that you're not going back to that pattern of waiting for something that may not happen, or expecting something that may never happen. It may come back to you being very realistic about your expectations, or just understanding a situation very well and knowing what to expect from that situation, full stop. I see hematite here as balance, longevity, and coming back to basics primarily. So as you reawaken, as you reanimate from someone who was waiting, or looking back and focused on only one thing in particular, as you reanimate and rediscover the present moment and the opportunities that are right here for you right now, you are being called to not lose sight of like what you want in the long term as well. Like, it makes me think that this is very exciting and there's a lot of fun here, but also we don't want to go back to that same mistake, or we don't want to go back to that same cycle. So remind yourself as you connect with new energies that what your long-term goal is here. Like, if it has to do with any relationship or work, you know, how do we get there in the first place? What are the red flags we need to watch out for? And how does that translate to what we actually want for our future as well? So let's see what advice we can get from this oracle deck for you. What advice can you offer group 2 when it comes to ending this tough cycle in their life? What advice can you offer group 2 when it comes to ending this tough cycle in their life? We have sacred beginnings. Honor these new beginnings. And in order to do that, we have to accept what is ending. So honor the new beginning and accept what is ending. I feel like this is a very big deal, and it may not feel like a big deal, or maybe it is, but I just think that you need to give yourself a massive pat on the back because it feels like a huge deal. What advice do you have? We have Dadari. I'm going to have to check because this is in their native language, which is not mine. So I'll have to double check that card. We're going to get one more for you though. What advice do you have for group 2 when it comes to ending this tough cycle? What advice do you have for group 2 when it comes to ending this tough cycle? What advice do you have for group 2 when it comes to ending this tough cycle? We have rejuvenation, which is basically judgment, and the Ace of Wands reversed. Rebirth, rejuvenation. Yeah, it's having more time, or spending more time on the things that you actually want in life, so that you don't miss out. It's like there was one thing in particular that you thought you were missing out on, and now you've realized as you come out of this tough cycle, that by focusing on that one thing, you missed out on so many other things. So I'm going to double check Dadiri here, or Dadri, depending on how their dialect is, to double check what that meaning is, because that is not a word that we have in our language. There are over 200 Indigenous languages in Australia. We have page 18, and I'm only barely familiar with 2 of them. Maybe 3. Let's just say 2, because the third one's very basic knowledge on my side. So, this is a story. We don't really have time for a story. In life, we find ourselves influenced only by what one person says, and forget that there's is only one of the many stories available. Often we need someone brave enough to step up and end a situation that has been dragging on and has lost all meaning and purpose from the original issue. It's your time to step up to the plate. It may be challenging, but you can end it here and now because they will listen to you. So that's incredible, because it basically surmises everything that I was intuitively feeling. In life, we find ourselves influenced only by what one person says and forget that theirs is only one of the many stories. We need someone brave enough to step up and end a situation that has been dragging on and has lost all meaning and purpose from the original issue. It's your turn to step up to the plate. It may be challenging, but you can end it here and now because they will listen to you. So there you go. It's like having courage. It's acknowledging, accepting again, and understanding that you may have been paying attention to the wrong story. And that's okay, because the way out of this is by getting that new idea, right? It's not by focusing on what you've been doing wrong. It's by having that new idea, understanding what went wrong in general, and learning how to move forward and how to look at life differently. So beautiful. And then we have rejuvenation over here, which is this overall feeling of coming back to life, group 2. As you end this tough cycle, you are literally coming back to life. You're reanimating. You're finding yourself to be very valuable. You're finding yourself to be somewhat of a hot commodity. And you're starting to find what makes you happy again and how you want to invest your happiness, because you can do that. You know, hobbies are a good way of investing happiness. Your spare time is about understanding how to invest your happiness and how to make sure you have more of it ready for you when you have the time, you know. And the Ace of Wands here is just reminding you that this is a new found feeling, a newfound inspiration. It feels like this is turning into a new purpose for you in terms of the energy that you have in your life right now and how to spend it. So I do see that overall the goal here is to bring you back to life, group 2, and show you what else is out there. So let's see what affirmation card will be helpful for you as you end this tough cycle. What affirmation card will be most helpful to group 2 as they end this tough cycle? I do not have to prove myself to anyone. Wow, group 2. Very, 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 very powerful. And you can screenshot this card if you want. It is also featured in a reel that I have on my Instagram as well. But it's as simple as it says. You do not have to prove yourself to anyone. As you rejuvenate, as you come back to life, it's very important that you do so at a pace that is comfortable and that you do so in a way that is helpful to what you want for your future, by not making those same patterns of behavior and producing those same unsavory outcomes. This is a way of understanding what you want and what is going to be helpful moving forward. Group 2, that is the message that I have for you. Thank you so much for joining me over here on YouTube. I really appreciate all of your support. I want to take a quick second to thank your guides, my guides, and our spiritual teams for helping me channel today's messages and for keeping me safe while doing so. Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you did enjoy it, and subscribe if you want to be notified of when I go live next here on YouTube, so you can join me in the chat and be a part of the next collective reading that I do. I don't plan them. I just, if I feel like it, if spirit's like it's time, I do it. So you got to be subscribed and notified in order to be a part of that. Thank you so much for tuning in, group 2. I shall see you in another video. Bye. Welcome, group number 3, Grupus Tripus. If you guys chose the succulent with the smooth edges around the side, the precious one that can't be outside very often because of the rain that I get here, then this is going to be your reading. Now, we're asking Spirit today, group 3, what tough cycle are you ending? My aim is to bring you good news, to show you how far you've come, and to tell you how this tough cycle will be leading into your next blessing. So let's get straight into it. We'll start with the tarot. Group 3, please, Spirit. What tough cycle is group 3 ending? We have the Two of Wands in the upright position, indecision, or just like planning. What tough cycle is, okay, we've got the Fool coming out. We're talking about group 3, Spirit. What tough cycle is group 3 ending right now? What tough cycle is group 3 ending? Hi, we have the Six of Wands in the reverse position. And we also have the Five of Pentacles in the reverse position. Let's get a bottom deck energy here. Wow. I just heard, what's the matter, you? Hey, got no respect. Bottom deck energy is the Ten of Cups reversed. Okay, goodness me. Whatever this is, it's been impacting a lot of things in your life. This is obviously a tough cycle for a reason. Goodness, Ten of Cups reversed. That's horrible. This is a cycle that has felt like it's kind of tinted every moment of being happy for you is what I feel. Like when you think, okay, now I can breathe. Now I can be happier. Now I can feel better. I feel like the Ten of Cups is like you weren't really sure about if you could have that in your future. It's a feeling as though this tough cycle, something happened to you, I feel, that put you in a position where you had to figure out what you wanted to do next because you couldn't go back. So you had to go back to the drawing board. But like, what does that even look like? What does your future even look like now that this is over? What does your future even look like now? What are your options? What are the possibilities? And it feels like on one hand, you could have chosen something completely radical. But on the other hand, there was just something else that felt like it was more safe. It's very interesting, group 3. I feel like this is a heck of a lot to go through. And I don't know if this is very fresh to the point where it hasn't really sunken in or there's still a numbness to it, but the tough cycle that you seem to be ending has to do with you needing to plan for your future, but you're looking at your future as the Ten of Cups, which is more about your happiness, your emotions, your ability to be in a long-term happy situation, which is bigger than just one relationship. It's like a family setting. It's like an idea of, can I have this at all with anyone, let alone a family? So it makes me think that it could involve children, it could be a separation from a relationship where kids were involved. It could be something huge that was very stable in your life and you walked away from it and now you've just been in this energy of like, I don't know what to do next. The Two of Wands is presenting itself like a planning card in your spread, and it's saying that the tough cycle is you've been trying to plan, but you've been afraid of taking the wrong step with the Fool reversed, either looking foolish or accidentally doing something that's even worse than where you came from the frying pan into the fire. There's also a feeling here of just not knowing enough, like not having enough information yet, feeling a little bit foolish and out of your depths in this situation. I also see the Fool reversed as just being so uncertain of what's next, of the future, of where your next step will take you. So it feels like the way that this is translating is there's not a lot of courage or confidence in your abilities at the moment. You don't feel very confident in your ability to be successful at the moment. This seems to be something that is also impacting your motivation and your ability to take advantage of what's here in front of you, because either you don't trust yourself or you just don't have confidence that you could be successful in those actions or those choices. I also feel like this is just translating as not trusting yourself enough, and it's leading to a sterile environment with not a lot going on. Especially with the Five of Pentacles reverse, this is like a barren environment that we need to grow from because it's sterilizing us. Sterile. I feel like this is a tough cycle because you know that this is temporary. Like we've got to change this situation around, but like maybe you're dealing with limited resources as well. Maybe there have been money issues as well. Maybe there has been job insecurity as well, or just financial insecurity, uncertainty as well. There seems to be a lot of concerns over being able to provide a happy future for yourself or a happy future for your family. Just a lot of concerns there. So, I mean, the benefit of this is that this is the tough cycle that is ending, Group 3. We're growing out of this. We're changing from this. We're growing. We're evolving from this. So, I mean, at least that's the positive. I want to ask Spirit now how this turns into your next blessing as well. So just get a quick drink of water first. Okay. Oh, my bad. Let's put that back. How is this tough cycle transitioning into Group 3's next blessing, Spirit? How is this tough cycle? We have the King of Discs, so he was supposed to be out. King of Discs reversed. Interesting. How is this transitioning into... Wow, we have the Queen of Goblets out here now as well. How is this transitioning into their next blessing? We do have the Queen of Wands, so there's a lot of people down here. It's a lot of people. One more card, please. How is this transitioning? Oh, hello. 7 of Cups. Okay, my days. Wow, okay. So first things first. That makes me think of Iggy Azalea. First things first, I'm the realist. Anyway, side note, I apologize. I have food in my belly and it distracts me sometimes. So first things first is you have options, okay? You have options. The thing about coming out of this tough situation is that technically speaking, your blessing may also be something that you could struggle with for as long as you continue to doubt your ability to be successful. Because the truth is, there's not any one way to be successful in life, and you being the complex being that you are, living in this simulation of an experience, you are going to have multiple opportunities at any given time. Choosing whether to get out of bed is not just a choice, there's opportunities there. It's not just a matter of, do I want to get out of bed? It's like, well, I've got options. I could get out of bed, I could keep sleeping, I could set my alarm, I could not set my alarm and just lie here for a little bit, I could do this. You know, the point of that analogy is that you have options. And I think that the main issue that you need to be aware of moving forward, which may not be that big of an issue for a lot of you, is that you need to start working on this confidence business suite, because you're going to have blessings come your way that you will automatically feel insecure against because you don't think that you're good enough, capable enough, or able enough to make this your own. You have this ability to create and to have a level of success that almost makes you entrepreneurial, in the sense of there's autonomy, there's independence, there's this idea as your own boss, basically. But I see that initially these opportunities will be bouncing off you rather than bouncing towards you, because there is this deflection here. And the way that it works is the biggest blessing that you'll encounter first after coming out of this tough cycle is a reality check. Because first of all, nobody's technically perfect, but also we're only as limited as we allow ourselves to believe in terms of sometimes opportunities can be right in front of us. We don't see it because we just don't see ourselves living those lives, living those lifestyles, living with those opportunities, living with that success. And I feel like the first step coming out of this tough cycle is a reality check. Someone close to you who you thought was a close peer is actually going to be a window of what your life could be like. Whether this is a friend or whether this is someone who you just know, who's around your age, who you thought was making the same amount of money as you, they're going to be an example of coming from a similar background as you, but taking those opportunities that you didn't think you were good enough for and turning them into their own success stories. Because I really do think with this being reversed, that coming out of this tough cycle is about a reality check of, listen, you have so much untapped potential, group 3, and you do need to start seeing your reality differently. It's not about being unrealistic, but it is about seeing things in a way where they are achievable with a certain amount of effort or a certain amount of this or that, and getting curious about how you can have that for yourself. And I think that at first, with this being reversed, coming out of this tough cycle is you playing it safe. The King of Discs reversed is you playing it safe, you not necessarily wanting to do, that makes so much sense. Look at your bottom deck energy, wanting to do anything that could jeopardize a good thing that you already have going. But I do see with the 3 of Swords here in the upright, it's not going to stop you from thinking about it. Just because you don't act upon it, just because you are trying to be safe while you end this tough cycle, maybe because money has been very difficult to get stabilized recently or in the last couple of years. So you just want to play it safe and get that good job that's going to pay, and maybe it's not what you want to do, or it's not exactly completely financially secure, but at least it's something. I see that your mind is still going to be thinking about other things. 3 of Swords, it's often depicted in a very heart-wrenching way, but it's an idea of you changing your mind about something. Your mind is expanding because of this, because that situation broke your heart, or because that situation brought you pain. Your mind has been forced to look at it differently and to see things in a different way. And that is what is going to be happening. This ending of a tough cycle is transitioning into you playing it safe initially, but also simultaneously feeling curious about, well, what else is out there? Like, how did they do it? That person is around about my demographic. We come from the same neighborhood. Like, we have similar lives, or so I thought. How do they have that and I don't? And I do think that there could be feelings of jealousy intertwined in this, but the idea behind these strong emotions is that they are supposed to make you curious enough to help your mind expand into, there are other realities out there. You don't have to be confined to that specific idea of what you thought your life was going to be. And I see here with the Queen of Goblets that this does, ending this tough cycle, transitioning into your next big blessing, this does involve you getting in touch with your emotional side, whether it is jealousy, whether it is compassion, whether it is sadness, feeling those emotions and understanding why that situation is pulling such strong emotions from you. Because honestly, I almost used to get angry when I would feel jealous, because I grew up in a church. I always thought jealousy was a bad thing to feel. But the less that you see that as who you are and more as like a hint of what your being is trying to tell you, the more it's like fun in a way. Like, not saying that jealousy is fun, but emotions can be fun in a way. This is such a Capricorn way of explaining emotions. They're so fun. You just do them on the weekend. But no, it's this idea of like your emotions are clues. Your emotions are little hints from your spirit saying, hey, pay attention. I'm going to make you feel jealous, so you pay attention. I'm going to make you feel sad, so you pay attention. I'm going to make you feel happy, so you pay attention. I'm going to make you feel pain, grief, excitement, pleasure, so you pay attention. Your emotions are there to help you pay attention. And for this card to be directly under the Fool reversed, it's like pay attention to what you aren't taking advantage of or what you have grown from, in the sense of who you were in your past does not have to be a direct copy, carbon paste, this is who I'm going to be in my future. It feels like you're breaking a mold here. And this is a choice for you because technically speaking, ending this tough cycle was blessing enough. Getting out of this hardship was blessing enough, let alone having more. So it really depends on how you choose to see your situation. But I do see that Spirit has big plans for those of you, Group 3, who are willing to look bigger. If you are willing to actually connect with your emotions and understand the feelings that you're going through and how they are helping you by, trying to show you other symptoms of what your spirit is saying, then I do see that the universe has very grand plans for you. The trick is meeting them halfway and working on those confidence issues, working on those feelings of insecurity or those feelings of I'm not good enough or I won't be good enough, I can't have that. Understand that, but what do they say? When we say the word but, there's a sign there of something that we could be working on, of a fear that we could be working on. And I really think that you're going to be compared to something, or you're going to feel compared to something that you thought was very similar to you, and yet you're still going to maybe make excuses and say, I thought this was going to, I thought we were the same, but I guess they're just really lucky. So I do think here that your blessing is ending this cycle with a little bonus round. If you can work on your ability to see yourself being successful and to understand how your fears are trying to tell you how to be successful as well by highlighting what you need to work through, because fear can be very helpful. It can be a really great way of identifying your blockages. If you can work with your fears, you can technically overcome crazy amounts of success. I just think that for the Queen of Wands to be reversed, most of you may choose to simply play it safe, and there's no right or wrong. It just depends on how ambitious you want to be. If you don't feel ambitious, if you're completely comfortable with being safe, being surrounded by loved ones, you're going to get that. That is the major blessing here with ending this tough cycle, is that there's security with your environment, whether we're talking about money or home or just a relationship. This security that you're getting by ending this tough cycle is helping you feel more balanced with your emotions. But I see that for some of you, that security stems from a feeling of not being good enough. That's the reason why we were hit that point where we lacked so much confidence and felt very insecure. So if you are feeling ambitious and if you do want more, there is this feeling that to get those options that you've been dreaming about, daydreaming about, fantasizing about, you do need to first work with your fear, work with your feelings, and understand what they've been hinting at, because they've been trying to show you what's technically standing in your way and how you can overcome those blockages to get the success that you dream of. You have options here when it comes to your next blessing, and there's no right or wrong answer. It's all subjective to you as an individual and what you want. But if you dream big, and if you are ambitious and you've been wishing on a star for this, and that, Spirit's willing to work with you, but emphasis on with you. This has to be about co-creating and meeting them halfway here. With the star, it is really about getting into knowing you, knowing who you are, paying attention to those feelings, whether it's jealousy, whether it's, joy and excitement. All of those feelings are hinting at ways that you can be more successful. So understanding that more about yourself is how this ending of a tough cycle is really going to push you towards your greatest blessing, your next big blessing. But I do feel that for most of you, ending this cycle in general is going to be a massive relief. So we've got a few oracle cards to get through. Let's start with the gem cards. We're going to ask Spirit what else you need to know about the end of this tough cycle. So what else does Group 3 need to know about ending this tough cycle, Spirit? What else does Group 3 need to know about ending this tough cycle? What else does Group 3 need to know? We have rose quartz coming out over here. So in this deck, rose quartz is associated with the air element. We've also got the root chakra, the number 27, and Uranus over here, as well as that yoga pose. What is that yoga pose? Group 3. What else do they need to know about the end of this tough cycle? Yeah, I didn't say that. I will say that to you after this card. Bullseye, which is associated with the fire element, Mars, number 29, and we also have the solar plexus chakra. So listen, the thing that I forgot to tell you is that you have a lot of Uranus, Aquarius, 11th house energy here between the Fool card, the Star, and now the Rose Quartz. I'm looking at a complete reinvention of your circumstances, and honestly, it comes down to who you are as an individual, what you want, but seriously, if you are ambitious, if you want to dream big, and you want to break the mold, this is every sign that you can do it. Whether breaking the mold for you means going off grid and starting your new path, completely different to what your family does or what society expects you to do, or whether going off grid means getting on grid and then leaving the rest of that crew behind to be that stable 9-to-5 person. You know, whatever this is, you're breaking a mold here, and there is a feeling of reinventing your future based on the healing that you were able to do at the end of this tough cycle. I see the rose quartz as an opportunity to have choices, but it comes down to what you want in your heart of hearts. You seem to be in a very emotional place when it comes to these big blessings over here. And it does come down to your happiness and ultimately what is going to make you most happy. Because the goal of this isn't to create more pain or create more distress by overwhelming you with too much at any one time. The goal is to give you what you want. So if you don't want all of that, obviously you won't get all of that. But if you are creating with the universe, and if you want big things, you're dreaming big, high ambitions, the goal, the advice, should I say, is to start from the ground up with the root chakra here. Start with the simplest starting place with it, which is intentions. Intentions. What are your intentions for the future? What is your idea behind getting out of this tough cycle? And how do you see yourself growing beyond this point? And maybe that is a very big, profound, philosophical question to ask at this point in your life when you're going through all these changes and all these just desire to just stabilize. Maybe that's too far forward of a concept. So I do think that it's something that you can just slowly look at and work at and reflect on. You don't have to try to fit all of this in at the one sitting. It's not like a all-you-can-eat buffet, pay $19 now, don't leave, otherwise you can't come back, you know? There's a feeling of like, no, this is your life. You can take time, but it's very important that you do what you want here, not what you feel you have to do or what you think you need to do, but it's very much about what is going to be what makes you happy, essentially. With the Queen of Goblets and your first bottom deck energy was the Ten of Cups reversed, this future that you're craving, I just really hope that you get it. And I hope that the main reason that you think you can't have it is because you don't think that you're good enough. Because if that is the case, then I need you to know that isn't true. That is a mindset that is definitely standing in your way. And with Bullseye here, Bullseye is saying that if you really want something, you do have to push towards it. You have to try in the first place. You reap what you sow. But in order to even get there, the first hurdle is convincing yourself that you can have it. I do see Bullseye as like the push, be determined, stay focused, and make sure that you understand that what you put in, you get out. So it's all about that first step and then being consistent. So there is a feeling here as though you don't have to rush into that energy. Start with the rose quartz. Get to know yourself better coming out of this tough cycle. Reconnect with yourself. Do the healing. Feel the triggers. You know, if you meet someone and you think you're very similar and they trigger you, sit with that feeling. Understand it, whether it's jealousy, whether it's happiness, whether it's a feeling of like I missed out. Sit with it, understand it, and understand how it is helping you either identify blockages or identify possible routes of success, because once you have that clarity of mind of what you want for your future, I do think that bullseye is this rush of energy, this determination, this idea of like the hardest part is choosing what you want. And then it's just about sheer will. And this is just about consistency. Bullseye is not something that you have to muster all by yourself. Bullseye is this feeling of being inspired to do this, to push, 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 you know. And with the star here, the world is your oyster, technically speaking. You are as limited as your ability to see what you can have. So let's get some advice for you from this Aboriginal Dreamtime Oracle deck for group 3, please, Spirit. What advice do you have for them when it comes to ending this tough cycle? What advice do you have for them when it comes to ending this tough cycle? We have ancestral stories. So I see ancestral stories as an opportunity to reflect and to keep some sort of memory alive. Now listen, sometimes ancestral stories serve as like precautionary tales, like, hey, kids, don't disobey your parents, otherwise these mythical creatures are going to drag you out of your bed at night and you'll never see them again. Or ancestral stories mostly served a purpose of keeping language and culture alive because there was no written language in Indigenous cultures in Australia. So I see it as two things, either keeping something alive or learning from an experience in a way where you're able to comfortably reflect and talk about it with healing. You know, there has to be like a synopsis version or a summarized version, a collated version that has a beginning, middle, and end. And I think that as you wind up this tough cycle, the rose quartz as well is talking about this. It's really about understanding this situation from a point of view where it's like, okay, either it really makes sense or the only thing that makes sense is that I never want that to happen to me again. There is something about winding this tough cycle up that helps put things into perspective for you to the point where you feel like you've learned something and you feel like you can take a little piece of it with you and maybe learn what not to do next time in the very least. What other advice do you have for group 3? We also have creation, which is very powerful. That's like bullseye energy as well. Push, 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 inspired to create. I think that creation for you is this idea of choice and opportunities. And technically speaking, you do have a lot of options out there. With the 3 of Swords here as well, that's expanding your mind and allowing you to see other opportunities. So it comes back to this idea of what you want and whether you feel limited by what you can have because you think you're not good enough for it. Spirit wants you to know you have so much potential within you. For these cards to come out reversed, it feels like you have a lot of untapped potential, and either you've purposefully turned that part of your life off or that part of your nature off to focus on what you truly want, or what truly matters to you. With the Queen of Goblets, the way that I would look at this is like an executive of a company turns down their role in order to have a happy family and focus on raising their children. You know, if that's what matters to you, then do it. Everybody's version of what matters to them is different, but it does feel like you have a lot of untapped potential. And as you wind this tough cycle up, you're going to be in a creative space where Spirit is going to test your ability to create and whether you are willing to open up to new opportunities. I also have Spirit connection here, so don't forget that it is about co-creation, you working with the universe to have the future that you want. You both have to meet each other halfway. You have to understand that what you reap what you sow, what you put in is what you will get out, essentially. But you can't do any wrong. Like, your spiritual team is 100% supportive of whatever you want to do. So Spirit connection is encouraging you to fall back on whatever your version of spirituality is, whether you have a designated religion, whether you have some sort of faith-based system, whether you're someone who's very connected to art and creativity and that's your spirituality, whether you're someone who has a strong cultural spiritual identity. There is a feeling here of understanding at least that you still have that strong connection. Regardless of what choice you make, you're still got this whole team of angels, ancestors, guides who are very, very proud of you, group 3. And that connection does not go away just because you've made certain choices in your life. Bottom's deck energy is seasons change, which is also highlighting this idea of things are moving, things are adapting, things are evolving. It's showing me like a lake that is thawing out and like growth is coming through. Suddenly all the bald trees have leaves. Birds are coming back that we haven't seen in months. Like, our environment is changing completely. And I do think that once you're exposed to more of what could be, even if it's vicariously through other people's experiences, it may completely change the way that you see your future. So to close your reading, let's get an affirmation card to see what will be most helpful for you. Yes. This affirmation card is the card that is going to be most helpful for you as you end this tough cycle. It's an affirmation that you can choose to take with you by screenshotting or writing it down or just saying it to you as you close this tough cycle of your life. Your card is, I welcome miracles into my life. And I do think that it is, again, very subjective. Miracles is like beauty. It's in the eye of the beholder. I welcome miracles into my life. So group 3, that is what I see for you, sweets. You've got a lot of exciting things happening. You're a very diverse group, I feel. Either a lot of people picked this group or there was just a lot of, I'm hearing autonomy, but I just think that you're very, very powerful and you have honestly so many options here. The tough cycle that you're currently experiencing is definitely ending, and I know that it could be daunting going from what I was afraid of the future and now you're giving me more choices, like what do I do? The idea here is to just take it slow, one step at a time. You are going to feel very pulled towards something, and that is what is, I feel, the direction that you end up taking, because it won't just be an intuitive feeling. It'll be a strong impulse to do it. You have a lot to look forward to, group 3. I hope this reading was helpful and healing for you. I hope it gave you some good things to look forward to. Remember, you can't do any wrong. Your spiritual team will still be with you. Just make sure you make you happy at the end of the day. I want to take a quick second to thank your guides, my guides, and our spiritual teams for helping me channel today's messages and for keeping me safe while doing so. I need to thank you for all of your support over here on YouTube. If you enjoyed this reading, remember to give it a thumbs up, and do make sure that you're subscribed and notified if you want to join me on my next live stream. I don't really plan them. I just do them when I have energy, but it's always fun connecting with the chat and doing those spontaneous live streams. So I look forward to seeing you there if you are there. Thank you so much for all of your support. I'll see you in another video. Bye. Hi group 4 and welcome. If you guys chose the pawpaw leaf, then this is going to be your reading. Group 4, we're asking Spirit to die. What is this next tough cycle, or what is the tough cycle that you are ending? So we're going to have a look at how this tough cycle will transition into your next blessing and get as much advice for you as we can. So what tough cycle are you ending right now? Let us have a look at the tarot first, and then we'll go from there. Group 4, please, Spirit. For those who picked the pawpaw leaf, what tough cycle are they ending? What tough cycle is group 4 ending? Wow, y'all have been, wow, we have the devil coming out first. Okay. What tough cycle is group 4 ending? Ooh, and the 9 of Wands. Wowzers. First of all, you're very strong, group 4. Commendable. The amount of energy, perseverance, Spirit saying, it's a true test of your character. You have been through it. Your ability to adapt is incredible. We also have the 7 of Cups coming out in the upright position. This card has been haunting this reading, truly. 7 of Cups. One more card. What tough cycle are they ending? Group 4. Oh, here we go. We have Temperance coming out as well, reversed. So bottom deck energy for this portion of your reading is the Hierophant. I've started saying it like that, and I can't not say it like that now, but the Hierophant/Hierophant, it depends. I feel like the word is Hierophant, but we don't say hierarchy, we say hierarchy. So what's the deal here? What do you guys say, Hierophant or Hierophant? Anyway, The Hierophant is your bottom deck energy. I just proceed to say it differently every single time. Oh, holy Lord. The tough cycle you're ending is definitely been one that has taken its toll on you. It's one that you've had to fight to get out of because it's taken a lot of, I want to say, perseverance. Spirit saying, excuse me, I have no business yawning. It's too early, but I do apologize. Listen, Spirit saying it's taken a lot of courage and perseverance to be able to do this, because I feel like it's not just like one thing. I feel like the devil situation to walk away from is like an ongoing battle of the will. The way that I see this card in your spread is either an attachment or a temptation, because it feels like you make that intention of I'm leaving this behind, I'm not going to do it again, I'm stepping away from it, I'm not attached to it anymore. But then it comes back and it tempts you again, and the cycle may have continued. You may have relapsed or gone back into that behavioral pattern or that same situation again because it tempted you again. So it has taken a lot of courage and a lot of perseverance to be able to push this through, because honestly, it comes down to willpower. Willpower. It feels like this has been an ongoing thing for you, and what you've decided is that you don't want it to be. This tough cycle is ending, Sweet Pea, to the point where you're going to have a lot more energy to invest elsewhere. And I feel like the way that this is going to work is you do have to think about what next, in terms of you've been putting a lot of effort and energy towards getting out of this. It reminds me of like smokers who don't know what to do with their hands or don't know what to do with their mouths, and they have to chew gum just to keep themselves preoccupied. You know, it's like you are finally stepping away from this attachment or from this temptation, but in order to get away from that situation and to make sure that it no longer has power over you, you do have to figure out what to do with yourself. It's like the muscle memory is still there, and it is a temptation for a reason. Either it was very, very, very attractive to you, or it just became very, very, very comfortable and familiar, you know? So I do think that you're going to have all this energy now with the Nine of Wands reversed, and you do have to think about how you're going to invest it. But on a positive, you are going to feel renewed, is what I feel. Like the Nine of Wands reversed, holy heck, there's a lot of momentum to pull back. There is this rest and reconsider moment here where you get to kind of think about, well, listen, I didn't realize how much this was consuming in terms of my free time, in terms of my well-being, my nature, my interests, my abilities. Like I have so much extra mojo to invest elsewhere. What do I do with it? So I see the Seven of Cups really offering itself over here as this big question mark of what do you do with it? As this cycle ends, you may be feeling confused about what do you do next? What do you step towards next? Where do you go next? But honestly, the Seven of Cups is really always a card that highlights only one true option, especially in this case. Look at the visualization for you. That's what I'm being called to. There's only one cup that's actually filling up this one. So even though you see these options, only one of them makes it in. I do think that the way that you'll feel your way through this is honestly through trial and error. You have to know what you like and you have to know what you want, and you have this ability to breathe again, as though somebody's taken these chains off your shoulders. It feels like you are carrying so much weight just pushing through this with all your willpower, perseverance, and courage. Temperance reversed is almost this feeling of trial and error, as though you have this opportunity to taste test a bunch of different things before you settle into any one thing. Because I do see you being this kind of person that settles into serious things. But you are being encouraged to have a bit of fun first, and to experiment and to taste test and to understand what you want before you get serious. The tough cycle that you're ending here could involve getting out of something that has been helpful initially and then just felt like it was enslaving you, especially because we have the Hierophant with the Devil card. Maybe you initially sought solace here for advice. Maybe it felt like a safe thing to do. And now you kind of just feel like you're enslaved by the situation. Regardless, you do seem to need more information, and you seem to need to understand what you want to do. So ending this tough cycle involves you taste testing and understanding where to invest your energy moving forward. In the dictionary, or in the thesaurus, if I can say the word thesaurus, a hierophant is like somebody who can like egg you on and really be on your side and vouch for your character and who you are, and give you that advice by as well. So I do think that whatever it is that you choose to do from here, the main thing that you need to understand is that this cycle is ending, and you're going to have a lot of energy, but you don't have to know immediately where to invest it. It is all about taste testing. And maybe that's been a part of you wrapping up this tough cycle as well. Maybe you've been in that space of feeling confused and having extra energy, not knowing where to put it. I just see that all of this together as a tough period in your life is definitely ending. So let's have a look at how this transitions into your next blessing as well. How does this tough cycle transition into their next blessing, Spirit? How does the end of this cycle, wow, we start with the Empress. How does the end of this tough cycle transition into their next blessing? How does the end of this tough cycle transition into their next blessing? We have the Queen of Blades. How does the end of this tough cycle transition into their next blessing? We also have the Four of Swords. Interesting. One more card, please, Spirit. How does this... We have the Three of Swords as well. Interesting. Don't feel afraid of the Three of Swords, by the way. This is transitioning into your next blessing. It's not a card to be afraid of. We also have the Queen of Discs over here. Who's that peeking out? The Valet of Blades. Curious. Somebody's got their eye on you. Keep your eyes open. Keep your eyes open when it comes to your opportunities moving forward. I feel like, listen, your next blessing has very much to do with your curiosity here. That is being highlighted through the Queen of Blades reversed, the Empress reversed, the Queen of Discs upright, more so the Valet of Blades and the Three of Swords. Those cards are all telling me that you don't need to settle into anything serious too fast, okay? As you end this tough cycle, you have to know what you want next. Pardon me, I'm just wiping my nose. It's getting very itchy right now. And part of knowing what's next is about not settling for the wrong things as well. So it feels like the Empress reversed, it's almost like this trial and error period. Instead of taste testing like the Temperance card up here, the Empress is saying that actually, before you sow your seeds, what quality of seeds do you have? You know, like there's this feeling of you can't have a child without a suitor type of thing in that case. So before you get too serious about this, where to next, what do I do, whether this is a new relationship, new job, as you end this tough cycle that has felt like it's had a big hold on you, a strong attachment to you, something that has kept you very limited in the amount of opportunities that you had for your energy. Now that you have all this energy back, be almost frugal and hoard it a little bit. Be selfish with it a little bit. Understand your value and get curious about what is out there. Taste test the waters a little bit, especially if this has to do with relationships. They're encouraging you to get to know the people around you and to not come in with any clear set expectations. Obviously, it's always helpful to have boundaries and to understand what you are worth in terms of your value, how you deserve to be treated, respect. But when it comes to expectations, Spirit's saying they're going to hold you back. It's very important that you keep an open mind and that you try not to think too big here. Try not to focus on the bigger picture in terms of maybe you're afraid of time limits as well. Maybe you're afraid of what if I run out of time, or what if I don't have enough time to do it? What if I get too old? What if I? Spirit's saying don't get too big with this. Keep your vision limited and keep your expectations open. I don't want to say low, but open, because I do think that you're being encouraged to have an open mind and to take time with this process, especially with the Four of Swords upright. This is a process that is going to require you to be kind of slow and steady, because I feel as though you're still healing from what you've come out of. And I do think that now is not the time to make a rush decision that you may regret or that you feel forced to make. It's very much about just doing things at a snail's pace and understanding that coming into your next blessing, you do need to have some sort of mind-opening experience, my days, look at me, mind-opening experience. And I think that that's why the Three of Swords is here. I talk about this in my How to Read Tarot Like Me series, but if you get a 3 in tarot, for me personally, I always see the 3s as expansion, and the Three of Swords as sorrowful, mournful, and esoterically heartbreaking as the meaning may be. I always, at the crux of it, see it as an opportunity for your mind to expand. It's a thought coming in, however jarring or heartbreaking it is, that reality, that real piece of information is expanding your mind and allowing you to see more, whether it's pushing you towards a new direction or forcing you to turn around and confront something that's been behind you this whole time. I see this for you as an opportunity, after keeping your mind open, to really allow the situation to expand and unfold even further through something that happens that will completely, undeniably change the way that you see things. And I do think that's why it's very important to keep an open mind, because as this tough cycle wraps up and as your healing experience comes into focus and you are in this period of just taste testing and not taking things too seriously, simply experiencing and being curious, you are going to get new experiences that will change the way that you see things. And this will allow many different new blessings to come in. So that is how I'm seeing it for you. I do want to get oracle cards now. We'll start with this deck. How does this... Actually, let's ask this question instead first. Group 4, please, Spirit. As they wrap up this tough cycle, is there anything else they need to know? We have lapis lazuli coming out. So in this deck, lapis lazuli, the crystal, is associated with the water element, the number 28. We also have Mercury, throat chakra, and that yoga pose. One more card for group 4, please, Spirit. What else do they need to know about this tough cycle ending? What else do they need to know? We have red jasper. Okay. Red jasper is associated with the number 5, Mars, sacral chakra, and the fire element in this deck. Wowzers. Okay, I'm just going to put that over there, have a quick sip of water. Okay, so lapis lazuli is interesting. That is about your perception and how you choose to process the information that comes your way. I also think that it has to do with this idea that the space that you'll be in as you end this tough cycle is purely experimental, which is both very freeing and also a bit humbling, in the sense of, like, because it's an experiment, while the data may be helpful, it is non-conclusive, you know, like it's not like what you do at that period of time is forever going to be stuck with you. You can take those experiences, learn from them, grow from them, but you don't have to be defined by them. It's a very experimental period of your life where your mind is craving to some sort of new cycle, some sort of new way of thinking. And I see that you do this subconsciously by acting in a way that feels like it's not going to actually lead to you finding who you are and your newfound direction, especially if this is like coming out of a relationship or a work situation. Any situation that has felt like it's controlled you and it's made you feel like you needed it. I do think that this experimental period is just about helping you see things more and to see how much you can have for yourself. Lapis lazuli is the feelings-based thought card, which is very similar to the Three of Swords in that sense. Your emotions and your thoughts go hand in hand with lapis lazuli, because as you see things, as you experience things, you have to process them. And while processing these things, feelings may arise or occur. And these feelings could be sadness. These feelings could be nostalgia. These feelings could be happiness. These feelings could be fear. Whatever they are, there's a lot of processing here as you wrap up this tough cycle. And there's a bittersweet feeling to lapis lazuli, because like you have this ability now to think about it in a helpful way, but still the feelings almost betray you. It's like you know that you need to move forward, but you still feel attached to that situation, almost like Stockholm Syndrome. Is it Stockholm Syndrome? Anyway. It's interesting. So that is why it's about being patient, taking time with the Four of Swords, and just keeping an open mind as you keep moving forward. Try not to think of the bigger picture too much. Try not to feel weighed down by expectations, especially around timing and running out of time, and just allow this tough cycle to end for you, and expand your mind and maybe hurt you with the truth so that you can see what's truly out there. I see the Three of Swords as like this sword flying towards this like dark, like imagine you're in a dark room, right? And you think that there's no way out. Out of nowhere, this sword flies past you in a terrifying way. You think it's going to hit you. Instead, it stabs the wall, which you now realize is felt. And as the weight of that sword pulls it to the ground, the felt wall opens and reveals a completely open outside room there. And you realize that this whole time you had a way out. The wall that you felt trapped in was actually felt, and this sword, however scary, frightening it was, has helped you see your way out. That is what the Three of Swords is. But in your case, it's nothing in terms of the pain, the fear, the fright, compared to what you went through here with the devil experience, okay? The devil was like tricking you into thinking that you needed to stay there. But I do think that it was with a cost. It came with a cost. It came with the fact that it took a lot of your energy, and it took a lot of the momentum that you could have been investing into the other things that you wanted to do in life. And I see you still having that momentum there, by the way. Red Jasper is saying that this situation is just going to propel you more. Red Jasper is a very masculine energy paired with the feminine energy of creation down here. Solar plexus, that's the masculine chakra. Sacral chakra is a very feminine energy of creation, sensuality. But more so in your case, creation. I think things coming into fruition here when paired with the number 5 and Mars. You've got a balance of feminine and masculine energy here that is propelling you forward and helping improve your circumstances. I see the 5 as fun. Like I'm kind of just seeing like this fun 5th house energy for you. And I think that that is what this whole experimental period of the Empress reversed, Temperance reversed is you just kind of experimenting and understanding how you want to invest yourself and get more serious by being a little bit selfish, by being a little bit frugal with your time and resources and doing what you want for a change. I do think that the 5 on this card is anticipating change. As you end this tough cycle, naturally, you're going to have a change. You've got all this energy now with Red Jasper, with the 9 of Wands reversed. You've got all this energy, and just experiment with it. Have fun with it, with the sacral chakra here and the Mars planet. It's honestly a lot of willpower. You have an incredible work ethic, whether that's towards your career, towards your friendships, towards your relationships, whatever it is, you have an incredible amount of sheer will within you. Your capacity is ridiculous. And I do think that the situation was just the one side of the spectrum, you know. If that willpower was harnessed appropriately, wow, you have so much that you can achieve, technically speaking. It's just about understanding what you want here. So have fun with it, experiment, and let it see where it takes you. Now, I am going to get more cards from this deck to see if there's any advice you need to know that I may have missed. Is there any other advice that you have for group 4 when it comes to ending this tough cycle, Spirit? Is there any other advice for group 4 when it comes to ending this tough cycle? Any other advice? We have preparation. Okay. Preparation. Any other advice for group 4 when it comes to ending this tough cycle? We also have seasons change. Interesting. Any other advice for group 4 as they end this tough cycle, Spirit? Any other advice? I'm actually starting to get very tired now. I feel I shouldn't be. So that tells me that there's a lot of bloody energy that's been put into this. Any other advice for group 4, please, Spirit? Any other advice? They keep showing me cards, but it wasn't coming out. We have emotional exhaustion as well, which is natural when you've been putting so much energy towards something. It's going to start taking its toll on other areas of your life. So I do want to show you preparation first, because I do think that that's a very colorful way of describing what I was feeling. It kind of feels like the temperance energy again. All of this experimentation, this try before you buy, test the waters, taste test situation, it is preparing you for that extra special something that you're still waiting to discover. And I think that this period, as we wrap up this tough cycle, the advice here is to understand that this tough cycle has been preparing you for something bigger by showing you qualities within you that are honestly strengths. Like, you're an incredible, that's the first thing that I felt when those 2 cards came out. You're an incredibly strong person, group 4, to go through what you've been through, to have to constantly fight that. It takes a lot of energy, resilience, perseverance, courage to constantly battle that. It's big energy, and I feel that as unfortunate as that tough cycle was, it is ending, and it has prepared you for some beautiful blessings. Those qualities that you've unlocked within your character do not go unnoticed and can be utilized for good in your future in helpful ways, especially when paired with the right opportunities and with the right intentions. I do feel here that as you transition out of this tough cycle, you are awakening even more qualities within you, and a lot of this has to do with what you see. So I do think that there is like this swan within you, this other side to you that has the opportunity to flourish now and to truly blossom. But in order for that to happen, we have to unlock it, kind of like a little quest thing. It's like those little side quests you do, you know, in Skyrim and things, and all of a sudden you gain, oh wow, you got a new potion. So I do think that all of this, the period, however messy as it feels, however counterproductive as it feels, it is experimental, and it's helping you blossom in different ways. I also see seasons change as you being a very different person. So listen, you're going to go through a lot of evolution, and you may think that you haven't changed that much, but I feel like a lot of people are going to see you grow and evolve into a very different person than who you were recently. You know, even if it's just like a 12-month difference. For some of you, the change could be that drastic 3 months. Whatever it is, you're going to be very different here with seasons change in the best of ways, because now you can honor parts of yourself that haven't seen the light of day for a very long time, or full stop. And over here with emotional exhaustion, I mean, I'm not surprised that card came out. Remember, I told you I was feeling tired myself. I think that as this tough cycle wraps up and you do have all this energy, it is going to be inconsistent at first, because I feel like this energy is there because it's so used to being there. Kind of like someone who's so used to fighting every day, you know, they may not physically, if you hook them up to like an EKG and took their blood pressure and their heart rate and their oxygen levels, technically speaking, that person should not be walking, let alone fighting. But your willpower is so insane that it may take you some time to wind down. So it's really important that you take it slowly as you end this tough cycle. You give yourself time to have those down days, to have those moments where you're genuinely resting, and to not feel too guilty for taking that time off, because you have been fighting for a very long time. It's only natural that your body needs to catch up by getting out of survival mode and getting back into thriving mode. And that is something that takes time, especially if it's a traumatic experience, especially if it's something that you've been chemically conditioned to do. You're running off all of those stress hormones, you know, you don't even realize, like, oh my gosh, I'm actually really depleted and exhausted, and my spirit needs to rest as well as my physical vessel. So it's really important you be patient with yourself through this as you tie up this tough cycle. Give yourself plenty of hugs, plenty of pats on the back, plenty of reminders of how strong you are as a character, and that this is something that not everybody can get through. You are an incredible person, Group 4, and you are on to incredible things. This isn't you peaking. You ending this tough cycle isn't you peaking. This is you recovering and getting back into thriving mode so that you can blossom in the way that you are destined to blossom. But in order to do that, we do have to wilt a little bit, let those old petals fall so the new flowers can come through, so the new flower buds can come through. So what affirmation card may be most helpful to Group 4 spirit as they end this tough cycle? We have, I am in perfect balance. I love that. I think this card is very appropriate because we only touched on this briefly at the end. Your affirmation card as you end this tough cycle is, I am perfectly in balance. I am in perfect balance, excuse me. So that reminds us that these things are about give and take. You're only human. You've come out of something very serious. Give yourself time. Give yourself a little bit of room here to experiment and to try things out and to understand what you like and what you don't like again. And know that in this case, you can technically do no wrong. This is a period of experimentation. The data is inconclusive. It's helpful. It gives us an idea of what we're working with, but it does not forecast the future ahead. It simply helps inspire you to understand what seeds you want to grow for yourself. Group 4, that's what I see for you. I hope you found this reading helpful. I hope it helped give you more information, put things into context, maybe offer more confirmation of what path you may currently be on. Remember, this is a really general reading, so take what resonates. Do not let the rest take from you. I'm going to take a quick second, speaking of taking, to thank your guides, my guides, and our spiritual teams for keeping me safe, helping me channel these messages for you today. Thank you for all of your support, Group 4. If you enjoyed this reading, be sure to give it a thumbs up. I am doing more live streams as well here on YouTube, so if you do want to be a part of the chat next time I go live, I really love interacting with the chat when I go live, so if you do want to be a part of that, make sure you're subscribed and you've ticked that notification bell so that you don't miss out next time. Please look after your wonderful selves. I'm very excited for you as you wrap this up. So proud of you, and I shall see you in another video. Bye!